Check 1, 2. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming out tonight on a beautiful Thursday evening to learn about some AI and how it's impacting the music industry. This is absolutely the most transformative period, I would say, in human history as we know it, but definitely in the music industry. Many other industries, pretty much all industries. So it's just really important, I think, for us to get together and talk about it and learn about it and see how we can turn this into a tool for good, turn this into something that strengthens the community, turn this into something that gives us superpowers. And, you know, that's really what the night is about. So my name is Logan. I'm the founder of Home. Home stands for Helping Our Music Evolve. We are a community and workspace. We have recording studios. We do tons of educational events, generally a supportive community for music creators and industry professionals here in Nashville. So if you're interested in being a part of that, you can come talk to me. And we have a really special guest with us tonight. This is Geoff Cubitt. He's the CEO of STRM, who is our presenting sponsor. So give it up for them. They're making this amazing event possible. And he is about to present a really, really cool platform for you guys and show you how their distribution platform is really expanding to provide all sorts of interesting growth tools for artists, leveraging AI and leveraging just really first-in-class technology. So give it up for Geoff.
Hello, all. Yeah, actually, Logan, maybe I'll take that mic so I can wander around a little bit. Point at the screen. Great, thanks. Well, this actually feels like perfect timing to me. I've been traveling for the last 2 weeks. I spent a week out in Los Angeles at the Abundance 360 Summit, which is this year was focused on artificial intelligence and everything that's going on with AI, and you know, speakers like Eric Schmidt from Google and Elon Musk, and you know, so I'm pretty hopped up on the latest and greatest in that, as well as humanoid robots and longevity, which don't have anything to do with what we're talking about tonight. But if you want to know about humanoid robots and longevity, I can talk about that too. And then I went directly from there to South by Southwest, where I just flew back from last night. So I'm like hopped up on AI and live music right now. So let's go. So first of all, from an industry standpoint, believe it or not, we are in a booming music time, which sometimes it doesn't feel that way because the music industry's gotten a little weird and feels a little broken to a lot of people. But someone's making a lot of money on music. I guess that's the moral, and the projections are that that's going to increase. So what we're trying to do is work with artists to help them be the people that are making the money. That's the main idea. So we're kind of like a digital label, although we actually work with a lot of labels, so that's not the right way to talk about us. But we use AI to try to gamify the career development journey for artists. So we sort of position ourselves as a artist career accelerator. So we've got advances that we provide to artists, and I'll show you how that works. And then we've got about 3,800 artists that we're distributing the music for. We've got over 72,000 artists that use the platform, and then we provide insights into career stages and how to advance through careers. This is based on over 11 million, almost 12 million worth of artists that we have, which is about 95% of all the artists in the world in our data repository, as well as 170 million songs. And we have a ton of data about the artist and the music and the social media and sort of what works and what doesn't work. We were formed in Brazil a few years ago. At one point in time, this past year, we had 3 of the top 10 singles in Brazil at the same time, which, as you might imagine, caused all the majors to go like, who the hell are these guys and what are they doing? And we had a couple global #1 viral hits. And anyway, so now we're in the U.S. We've become a U.S. business, and we launched in the U.S. We launched at South by Southwest last year, and our headquarters is in Chicago. I think I'm going to take a diversion just because I got back from South by Southwest to see if I can do this. The screen resolution is a little wonky here. Let's see if I can make this work. I guess it looks kind of okay. This is just some of the stuff that we were doing at South by Southwest, meeting with artists and interviewing artists. I'll play one of these. This is Karen, who's from Nashville here. Oops.
Karen Dixon, one country Americana artist out of Nashville, Tennessee, and I do really upbeat live performances, and I'm putting out an EP in May. Well, I'm 100% indie right now. I have a really great team, so right now we're just building up the brand and putting songs out as much as possible, just to keep momentum going. Building a team is not easy. You have to go through lots of people and find the people that you can trust, but we have such an amazing team that we found. And once you find those great people, you just kind of hang on to them and, just build something fun. Music is everything to me. And I always tell, everyone, and my kids especially, like, if you wake up in the morning and think about something and go to bed thinking about it, that's what you're supposed to do for the rest of your life.
Right,
What's going on, everybody? It's Monty, and I'm here with...
That's enough, Monty. But anyways, that's just one of the artist interviews we did. And actually, Karen is one of our artists. This is Gorilla Zoe, if you guys are more into hip-hop. Where did my PowerPoint go? Oh, there we go. Anyway, so I thought a nice little diversion of some of the stuff we've been up to this year. Karen also performed in a showcase. I'm not going to go through this. This is just to explain sort of the model, again, at a high level. How do we make money, distribution, advances, and artist support. So we have this assessment that the whole platform's built on. So we were founded by Fernando Gabriel and Thiago Lobo, both are musicians. Fernando was a pop artist in Brazil that had a decent amount of success, went on to become a music manager and then consultant, and the two of them, and Thiago founded one of the first VC funds in Brazil, so the two of them got together and created this business, but it's based on a methodology that he used to help artists with their careers, and it's really these different tiers, which I'll talk about a little bit more in the next slide. But our focus is really on this sort of fat middle here. So most of the major labels are focusing on the top part there, which does generate, it's a small amount of artists that generate a huge amount of money in the industry, but there's also a lot of artists in the middle here that generate a lot of revenue, and so our mission is really to support those artists. Just real quickly on this kind of model, an enthusiast is someone like me, plays a guitar, isn't very good, likes to play, whatever. Next level is aspiring to. This is generally going to be somebody who, maybe they play some cover stuff or whatever. 3 is when you're starting to do independent work and maybe you're starting to release things. 4, you've kind of figured out what kind of band you are, what kind of artist you are. You maybe have, you're starting to get a little bit of a following. And this is a point in time which we think it really makes sense to get some additional support. It's also a hard thing to get past. I think like 90% of artists never make it past this point. But this is a point where, we think artists start to become investable, and it makes sense to put some effort into moving their career along. Then move them along to this next point here, which is the next sort of major cutoff point where it's hard to move on to get to this higher level that everybody else is at. So the whole platform is designed around these career assessments, which I'll show you, and then helping artists figure out how to, where they are in their career and how to move forward. We're not measuring talent. We're measuring, how much engagement with a fan base do you have? What how big is your audience? How engaged are they? And trying to help artists figure out how to increase those engagement. That's what's really matters in a digital streaming world. If you're going to perform locally and you can sell out wherever you perform, and that's what you want to do, then that's cool. We probably aren't going to help you as much with that. We're really about helping artists figure out how to take advantage of the digital world that we live in and expanding that base. So I'll take you through this, so I don't really want to belabor the point too much. But again, it starts with this assessment based on a massive amount of data, and I'll show you some more stuff about that. It's really about trying to help artists climb that career ladder. We distribute to every DSP you've ever heard of and many that you've never heard of. And why might we be a fit for you? We leave artists with long-term ownership of their masters, generally have a short-term contract of a year. So that's our standard. We have a year contract with an artist. If there's an advance involved, the advance might take longer than a year to recoup. But the artist, if they recoup in a year, they can be out in a year. so we're trying not to, settle artists with bad deals. And by the way, the number of artists I've talked to that have just like terrible deals, it's amazing to me. Anyway, so, but that's what happens when you're built by a business that's built by artists that, is trying to create something that's artist friendly and partner with artists to help them be successful. So, we're way out in front of everybody as far as data and AI. We know that because we've talked to most of the people in the industry. And anyways, we're developing strategic partnerships. I thought I would show a quick little case study here. I'm just going to go through it quickly. This is Alex Christian. He created this Christmas song in 2024. It did pretty well. He signed with us, and we noticed that there was a little bit of action going on with his music as we were coming up on the holidays again. And based on the data and the insights we were seeing, we decided to work with him to help put some effort behind that, do a little influencer campaign. So we had the strategy. We ended up with 150 posts, 800,000 likes, 67,000 videos, UGC content that was created. Did a clipping and influencer campaign that generated a lot of, particularly on TikTok, a lot of action. It really actually worked really well. He got on a bunch of big holiday playlists. Coming out of that, he was interviewed by National Public Radio, NPR. When the NPR stations did a thing on I don't know, it was on holidays and things that make you be retrospective and stuff, because it's sort of in the nature of the song, which is a Christmas song, but it's not a Santa Claus song. It's about seeing someone that you used to have a relationship with, and that kind of thing. Anyway, so this generated about 5 million views in this campaign. We added an additional 11 million streams from November to December on this song. I think its total now is up to 19 million streams on just this one song. His total number of monthly listeners actually bumped up to 1 million from tens of thousands, whatever it was. And he got added. This song got added to 500 plus playlists and 400 saves. And he progressed from a stage 4 to a stage 6 artist in that time frame. So that's just an example of sort of finding knowing, having a partner to work with to help you when it's the right time. This is just a group of some of the artists that we worked with in Brazil. You don't know any of these people, but they're really big in Brazil. Millions and millions of streams and listeners, and I think this is a good point for me to show you the platform. Then I'm going to come back to the what's next. Let's tease it. What's next? But you're not going to see that now. So get out of here, and now maybe I can do it. Now I might wish I didn't have this microphone in my hand, but I'll do it. Okay. See if we can. There's a different resolution on my screen versus your screen, in case you're wondering why I'm looking at this so bizarrely. I'll do that. Great. Okay. So this is the platform. What I'll do is I'll go back and back out. We'll see how we get here. So. So skip through this. So you register. So I'll just take one of these out. So this is an artist, Coe Red. You guys know her, by the way? Also a Nashville country singer. Okay. Unless I'm not on the internet anymore. What's going on? I'm gonna check and see whether I dropped the internet. My entire computer locked up. Just 1 second. I'll get out of here. Okay, it did respond. Sorry, I was just being slow. I apologize for that. Anyway, so I just searched on her Spotify and selected her Spotify profile. I won't go through the rest of them. So all we need from an artist is their Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram. I don't know why preview image isn't loading. Then it chunks away, and it's looking across 12 million artists. Comes back and says, we're changing this because people don't like it. There was low, mid, and high, but no one likes low stream success, so we're changing the name of that. But anyway, so this is an artist, and she's at early part of stage 7. She's 7% in. She just dipped into stage 7, so she won't have much progress. This provides a little bit of overview of what it means to be a stage 7 artist, but if you go in here, you see that, again, relative to all the artists in country music, there's only 0.72% that make it to stage 7, so she's pretty far along in her career, doing great. Again, she just slipped from 6 to 7, which is a big jump. So what we have is at each one of these things, so this is showing Spotify. To get to stage 8, which is a big jump, you need this many Spotify followers. She's got that many. Same with popularity. We've got data here about how Spotify metrics work. Similarly with YouTube, how many channel subscribers you need to have, how many views, how many videos or actions per video, and Instagram here. The number of posts per those. And then what we've got is Quincy, which is our overall agent that is sort of the strategist. And so the initial prompt that was defaulted in there is, hey, just explain to me my goals and where I'm at and what you'd recommend I do. You can ask Quincy anything. How much money should I spend on promoting my next song? I've got an album coming out. Should I release it a track at a time or the whole album? Whatever you want to ask, right? But this is just giving advice on how to build her YouTube base and see what's up. Seems to be focusing on YouTube. This one just focused on YouTube because that's probably her biggest gap on there. And then I'll take you back, show you one other thing. So on Spotify, we have this boost here. I don't know how well you guys can see this. I could do something. Hold on. I do this. Ooh, yeah. It makes it easier to read, right? That's a little easier, right? So we have this boost capability, which allows you to basically, we've built in the ability to do some promotions. So I'll search for this artist. I'll just select one of her songs here. And then it's going to create this little preview, this little ad unit. And it'll I don't really know how it does it, but it always finds the hook. I think it's impressive. Anyway, so for this song, it's got links already built into it to the various platforms, and then you can adjust the ad creative if you want to. I don't know why this is so weird. Whatever. And you can run it on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can change the number of days. You want to run a campaign, and just run that as an ad unit, or you can do it as a playlist campaign. And then if you do it as a playlist campaign, this will get AI pushed into an interface that playlist curators for Spotify use to help select songs. And then they can decide to add that song to their playlist if they want to. Sorry. And hold on, now we get it out of here. Just want to show you one other thing on that though, real quick. I don't know why this is behaving badly. I'm just going to show you what happens. So this is an example of a campaign that I put in for one of our artists, just so I had something to show people. So So I did a playlist campaign for this artist. They got 39 placements, reaching almost 1 million fans of these playlists or followers of these playlists. You can see the playlists that were included on there, unless I'm in the way. The playlists that are included, and then they also can write responses on it, like feedback from the playlist curators. Similarly, did an ad campaign, see it grew his number of fans. So that's the playlist capability. There's also Stream Class, which is, it explains, I don't know, this network is not great or something.
Maybe you're still on Center 615.
What's that?
You might be still on the Center 615.
Okay, maybe I'm just, yeah, let me just see. I might be on the wrong Wi-Fi, sorry. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so I guess I was just on a weak network, so it was just loading a little slow because I see the stuff is here. Anyway, so for this, there's a little there's information that explains what it means to be at that level. There's additional videos that you can go through at each level, and as you progress, you unlock new videos. So it's really sort of just educational content to help support artists. We've got a touring relationship with Breaking Sound, so artists get priority for one of the 130 shows a month that Breaking Sound puts on. And then we put on showcases with them periodically. We got the Broda Quincy that we talked about. And then distribution, pitching. We have a pitching tool, release management tool. I just want to show you that in the interest of time. I'll just show you how this advanced piece works. So for this artist, we're offering her an advance. Again, this is just based on the data we have, which I'll show you in a second. And this is showing which songs are, we've identified that we think are migratable. These two, for example, are showing up as not migratable for whatever reason. Either we don't think that she's the primary artist on them, or they're with a major or something like that. That impacts those. Anyway, so if she decided she could click on different ones that she wanted to add. She can adjust the splits on them. If we think it's 50-50 and it's really 60-40, she can adjust it. And let's say she wanted to move forward with that. Then it's a 70-30 deal, so 70 recoup, 30 distribution fee. And then as soon as it's recouped, it kicks back to 80-20. So 80 the artist, 20 for distribution. And again, it's a 1-year contract, but it depends on how long it really takes to pay it back. So then I go over here to the other platform. Go back into. Sorry. This is what we call Stream for Labels, and this has. Actually, I'll go in here. I'll show you this first. As we'll see how many are in there. There's 11.89 million artists, and here we could search on any of those 11.8 million artists and find this data on them. But I'll go back to Koi since we were just showing her. So for some reason we didn't pull her Instagram, but have the information. So we've got their biggest cities. We've got this concatenated index of their performance, development, engagement, followers, looking across the different platforms, how they're growing. And then this is how we're able to offer an advance. So we've got the last 12 months revenue, actually more than that, and then forecasting out the next 12 months, and actually more than that. And then we can see how much is independent versus if it was partially with a major, whether she's got share in. Hers is pretty clean. Sometimes artists will have a significant amount of share in, which is they're featured on someone else's track, or vice versa. And then for each one of these, we can look not just on the month-by-month revenue and then the forecast moving forward, but also track by track basis, and understand how the track did in the past 12 months and what we think it's going to do in the next 12 months. So this track, Wildcard, interesting enough, the one we just listened to, did about $9,000 in revenue in the last 12 months, and we're projecting it to do almost $14,000 in the next 12 months. And then this one, again, not so relevant for her, but for artists that are featured on someone else's music and they're supposed to be getting paid. I can't tell you how many times we've met with artists or their managers and they're like, oh, we're following up on that, because that's tough information to find out. If they're not paying you, you don't know what you're supposed to be getting paid. So that's pretty handy. And then just looking at track popularity, we have a breakdown of the track popularity and can sort that as well in a little thing. So that's a super fast tour, which I seem to have some technical problems because I wasn't on a very good network. But thank you for your patience with that. I'm going to show just one other. I'm going to go back to the slide here real quick. So the key thing from, I guess if you're paying attention to the world, what's going on, and certainly what was a key emphasis at Abundance 360 is the growth of the agent, the AI agent. This is a really big area. Conveniently enough, this is something we've been working on. So I was hoping this was going to be live today. It isn't live. It's built. It's in test. I was hoping to show it today, which is why I'm going to talk about it, because it better be out in the next week or two. So what we have Quincy, who's our overall strategist that you saw, but what we're building out is basically a team of agents. And Quincy's sort of the overall strategist and sort of orchestrator. We've got Bowie, who's the marketing promotion specialist, Nora, a release manager, supporting the process around releases, and Ella, a data analysis specialist. Why do we break them out this way? There's a couple reasons. One, you could just say that, hey, Quincy does all those things, and you can ask Quincy all those questions. It turns out that these things actually perform a little better when you tune them. If you keep it really general and just ask it any question, you might ask it about breast cancer, or you might ask it about nuclear fission, or you might ask it about music promotion, right? That's the universe of human knowledge. If you narrow it down and say, hey, you are a marketing and promotion specialist, and then put in our best practices and standards and other sources to really tune it on that, and then ask it a music marketing promotion question, it's going to give you a much better response. It's going to respond much more like an expert, and it also costs less tokens if you're concerned about the cost side of it. So that's one of the reasons we broke it out that way. Also, I think we'll be doing a little marketing promotion around the avatars associated with these characters, which, and this idea of a team supporting you 24/7 that's focused on you, which I think is pretty cool. It also sort of gives you a little bit of a cue that you should be asking these types of questions, and that's how you should move through. In addition, we've built an agent that helps with the distribution process, that instead of going through a bunch of screens and enter things in, it just sort of asks you questions and you give it the information, and and it takes you right through the distribution process. So that, I think, should be super helpful for artists. So for example, artists get stuck when you need to upload an image and they don't have the right size image, and so can you have something that can size the image for you and give you the right image, or build an image for you. And then the other thing we're adding is we have something we refer to internally as the stream cycle, and it's sort of working through the release cycle. So there's 3 stages of it. There's the part up until you get through the distribution process. Then when you've got it in the system, and what do you do between when you've loaded it into the system and it goes live, and then what do you do immediately after you go live? And there's a set of things that you need to do. Anyone who's really tried to promote their music and knows you don't just load it up and have it go live the next day. There's a set of activities. So this is this is what part of what these agents are helping to do. Particularly the Nora agent is really about helping manage you through that process. But then this sort of dashboard to help you understand where you're at in the cycle, how to move forward, as well as the data analytics. Again, I believe that this team's going to be a really high quality team right away, but within a year it might be as good as any major label team, and within 2 years it might be better than any major label team. The way things are moving, that might be even faster. So I'm really excited about being able to add this additional level of artist support. And then the other thing we're adding is you noticed that I mentioned that we did some influencer campaign with the song with Alex Christian, the Merry Christmas song. So what we've partnered with the company that actually worked with us on that campaign, and we've built that in. I don't know why this isn't live either, because it's totally built too, but that's built into the platform that allows you to do additional, so the stuff I was showing before, pretty simple, straightforward marketing, click, 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 you don't have to do anything. This is going to be a little bit more involved campaigns for people that have a little bit more to invest in their music and want to do a little bit more, as well as doing influencer marketing campaigns. So these are the things that are all in test right now, and I'm not really entirely sure. Like I said, I've been gone for the last 2 weeks. I don't know why they're not live. I thought they'd be live. But I will be finding that out in the next week or so. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to go over. I think we'll do some Q&A later. I've got lots and lots of thoughts on AI, which I'm not boring you with at this time, but I'd be happy to talk about it later.
Super cool. I'm really into this. The first time I heard about this, having this team of agents, working on your behalf inside of the distro platform. So I'm stoked about that. I think that's going to be a really cool addition to the platform. So I'm looking forward to it. All right. Up next, I'm going to share for just a minute. I've got some interesting things to share with you guys. We're going to kind of go back and forth a little bit between looking at AI through a business lens and looking at it through a creative lens. So what I want to share tonight is something that our product manager Juan, who he's probably in the lounge in there hanging out. You might have met him on the way in, but he's an amazing tech guy, really just insanely good with AI, and he'll just like build stuff that he thinks is useful for music people, and I've worked with him to build a few things that kind of came from my head, but this is one that specifically just kind of popped out of his head. He's mainly a DJ, but he's getting into music production, so his thinking was like, I need to just understand how to grab cool chord progressions. It's one thing if you know music theory, the circle of fifths, you understand how chord progressions work. It's another thing if you're just like, I'm trying to find a vibe, right? And so he made this really cool platform called Chord Map, and you can find it at chordmap.io. It's all live and ready to go. Built the whole thing with AI, but you can go in here and you can, click a certain mood. And if you want to see things in that mood, you can also click a certain genre, and then you can find chord progressions for those genres. Let me take it off here. So some of them are like locked behind paywall and stuff. So just be aware of that. But this is one. It's called 3 a.m. Thoughts. You can click this thing down here, and it says warm and dusty, the kind of progression that sounds like rain on a window at 3 a.m. Kind of giving you like these different ideas of like how you would find vibes for if you're producing music. So let me plug this in so you can hear some of these real quick. Because not only can you see the chord progression, you can play it. It just comes out as MIDI. Right, and then you can export it to MIDI also, so that you can just fly it into your DAW and start working with it from there. So I thought this was really cool. I was trying to get him to present it tonight. He was like, I don't want to present it. So I'm presenting it for him. If this seems like something that'd be useful to you, go ahead and jump on and mess around with it. We're putting a lot of tools and free stuff on our website. at homeformusic.org/freebies. So we have a few different tools that we've put together so far. We've got this music creator roadmap, which was built around a framework that I created to help people understand what I consider to be the three main viable paths to make money and be a professional in the music industry. So you go through it and it asks you a bunch of questions to try to understand exactly what your ideal path through the music industry would be. We've got this really cool playlist finder. You can find it at spotify.homeformusic.app, or you can just go to that freebies page on our website. But you can put tags in here like indie rock, new music, submit, and then you'll just find different playlists that you can submit to here straight from Spotify. So that's pretty cool too. Just trying to shortcut the process of growing a music career. If y'all done the artist thing for long, you understand how incredibly time-consuming it can be. And then this really cool social media analysis tool that will actually scrape your social media profiles and give you an analysis of what your top posts are, what you might be able to do better, and stuff like that. So, it's really interesting time to be alive. I think, you combine stuff like this, which is more the tool that I'm trying to unpack and understand my career. And then you look at things like what Geoff's building, where ideally you get to this point where you just have robots that know what you need to do on the business side of things. And once you've kind of understand what your highest performing content is and all that, you can go feed that data to your agent and say, all right, now start making and publishing content. Who knows how it's going to work out, but I try to be optimistic about it. So that's what I got for y'all tonight. If you want to check any of that out, go to homeformusic.org/freebies and give some of those tools a shot. So up next, we got Ben Baylor. If you want to go ahead and get ready and come on up. Ben is a independent publisher and label owner from Germany, and it has been in East Nashville for a long time, right? So he's about to give you guys a really interesting thought experiment, I think, and break down some of the business implications for AI and music creation. So I give it up for Ben.
Thanks for having me, Logan. I can say I'm proud to be a homie. These tools that you guys are building, one especially, whoa, that's cool stuff. Every time I'm coming here, no thanks. Every time I'm coming here, I'm learning new things that I did not expect or that I didn't think about. So it's really cool. As you said, it's really cool to be alive right now. What do we do? I guess. All right. So, as Logan said, I'm a publisher by trade. Been doing it for a while, with always an eye on digital developments on all sorts of levels. With AI, I felt a little bit, I felt remembered of the early YouTube days, so this is 20 years ago, because some things were very similar, not so much technology-wise, obviously that's very different, but in the way that reactions were of people. And that's a situation where I talked to colleagues and I saw that there was, of course, a lot of hesitation, but there was also a lot of disbelief. Back in 2023, no one really believed that it would move fast. And I told everyone, guys, you have to get on top of it because this is going to overrule everything because of the speed of technology, how things develop. And now you can build stuff like that, just like I built this thing, which is a presentation, and it's actually a website. Pretty proud of that, even though I just prompted it. But the contents are like scientifically put together. I put together a little paper. At the end, you can actually download that too if you contact me. So let's get right in. Oh, actually, I wanted to know who is a songwriter in here? Okay, who's a producer? Publisher? Manager? Videographer? Fantastic. Okay, so just as a little, market overview, so to speak. There's a new songwriter in the room. Suno, Udio, ChatGPT, generative AI has joined the session. What does that mean? So I think every one of us has tried AI when it comes to production, when it comes to finding lyrics, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about the implications that it might have or might not have, and some potential developments that we might see. And I was thinking it would be interesting to find out if there's like a bi-directional situation that we need to look at, because not only are we creating with AI if we are using it in a songwriting session, but we're also feeding it with our ideas, with our works, with our copyright. And then the question is, what happens with that after the fact? So all of that is pretty convoluted, in all honesty. It's a lot. And that's what the paper is for. So I'm going to run you through this and save you a bunch of headache listening to me too long. And also found these beautiful robots might help. Anyway, so I don't know if you guys know, some of you might, the number of users for Suno right now is 100 million. The revenue is 300 million, and they have 2 million subscribers. Now, mind you, this is only Suno. This is not Udio. This is not Boomi or any of the other AI apps that are out there. It's not Gemini, who also has a pretty decent tool right now where you can make music. So to put this in perspective, because I think the recording industry numbers are more present to people than the actual publishing numbers. So I'm going to talk about publishing numbers, and we talk about that. We look at the copyright market, music copyrights, not book publishing. And that market by CISAC, that's the roof organization of all the PROs, is $15 billion per year in 2023. Out of that, the US and Canadian copyright market is $4 billion approximately. Now, if you take Canada out of that, the US alone is 3.14 billion. So who's sort of good in math or not, let me tell you, this company is nearly the size of Canada right now. That's where we're looking at, right? So we can talk about disruption here. Another thing that puts this in perspective also is the total market is 15 billion. The European copyright market is 8 billion. So pretty much half of the money that comes, or every second dollar that is being made comes out of the European market. Why this is important, you will see in a minute. But I thought this was an interesting fact as well to mention here, because, as I said, not many people are aware of that. So I looked at these countries, the US, Germany, UK, Australia. There are some errors on here. Tell me if you see them. One country is missing here, and there's a reason. That country is Canada. These 4 countries right now, and Germany stands for the European Union, are or have already established some sort of legal framework. So does the US. UK is a little bit on the fence with it. Australia has a clear opinion on it. Canada hasn't. That's why Canada is not in here. Another country that is very important for the world market is Japan. I deliberately left that one out because Japan is functioning very different to all of these other markets that I'm presenting here. And then there would be, of course, all the South American markets and I'm not touching on that. So my point is, what are we looking at? We are looking at a situation where legislation was actually passed quite quickly. Now, you are all creatives and you go like, oh, don't annoy me with legislation and legal stuff. It is important because when I thought about these things first, I thought, okay, technology moves fast, and it's really the consumer who decides and who influences things. It's not necessarily, lawyers hate that when I say that, but it's not the law that defines this. It's the users and it's the consumers who actually make a difference in that. And that's what we're seeing right now too. All right, so let's dive in. The US, by definition of copyright, says it has to be a human who creates works, who creates music. So right now there is a situation that is a little bit in between. We have a situation where fair use plays a role in this, especially when it comes to training models. In Germany, or let's say Europe, there's the DSM regulation, which sets a pretty strict framework for all of the 30 European countries, and that again plays a role in a minute as well. Also, in Europe, PROs and the songwriters can decisively opt out of training of AI models. That is a very, very big differentiator between the countries here. As I said, the UK is a little bit sitting in between. And in Australia, they have a very strict rule where AI cannot be trained with that. So I'm taking Australia in because Australia on the recording market side is number 6, has been for a long time, so it's an influential music market. So is Canada, by the way. They have a lot of export artists and a lot of export songwriters, and that's what we're talking about here. So we're talking copyrights and not master rights. So there is a PRO in Europe called GEMA, G-E-M-A. That's the PRO in Germany. Comparably to ASCAP, at this point, I think ASCAP's revenue is $1.9 billion, and GEMA's revenue is about $1.5 billion. Now, if you put that in perspective, it's not a small society, and GEMA has moved very fast, which was surprising for me because I have been working with GEMA for quite some time, and they have been dinosaurs with a lot of things. Not this time, they have moved fast, and they sued OpenAI, so ChatGPT's mother company, and they won in front of a court of law in Munich last year. And what that does is it sets, so first of all, what were they suing for? They did a test with OpenAI or ChatGPT to recite lyrics from very successful German authors, and ChatGPT was delivering this. So therefore, licenses were infringed. There was the case. They did similar things with Suno, and for example, Forever Young is a German copyright, or Mambo Number 5, Daddy Cool. They're all German copyrights. So GEMA looked at this and sued Suno, which is also not an easy thing, obviously, because Suno is a US company. They have to have representation in Europe. Don't ask me about the details. I'm not a lawyer, but that's how it works. So Suno got sued in Munich. The first hearing was, by the way, on March 9. And we're yet to see how that develops. But with OpenAI being decided the way it was, I think it's not looking too shabby. Now you might ask, why is he talking? He's German, he's talking about all the GEMA stuff and all that stuff. Why is that important for us here in the United States? Well, there is one company, and the company is using the same technology worldwide. So if they have to change anything, it will have an implication on the rest of the world. This is why this is important. And therefore, and in all fairness and in all transparency, I have to say that Suno was sued by a bunch of other companies and one other PRO, only one other PRO. That's also remarkable, which is Coda, which is the Danish company, Danish PRO. Obviously very small. Denmark is, I think, has 5 million inhabitants, and revenue-wise, I don't even know where they are. Probably 40 million euros or something like that. So comparably smaller. Yeah. So what happens if you use Suno? What happens if you use ChatGPT, etc.? This is a very interesting move. First of all, it might have something to do with the other companies that have sued Suno. Sued Suno. It's not Studio. No, it's Warner. It's Universal. It's Sony. They all sued Suno, and Warner made a move and actually cut a deal with Suno last year, I think in September. Therefore, they're out of the picture. The other companies are still like in the process of suing them, and the results are unclear right now. It's probably that caused Suno to change its terms just recently in January. Which means that previously when you had the highest tier paying model, you were able to own whatever Suno created. So the general consensus is if a work is done by technology, it's not copyrightable for the human, because again, it's the human that needs to be involved. If a human gets involved, then we have a different situation, but that's the general consensus. Now, they changed the terms, and you're not an owner anymore. You can only be a licensee of the music, and Suno remains the licensor, which is a big difference if you want to use it and actually sell the master to a label, for example, or do other things with it, even for a stream. I think if you sign a document, if you sign a contract with a distribution company, with an aggregator, they want to make sure that the chain of rights is complete. How do you guarantee that? I'm not sure. So this is where it becomes a little bit dicey, I think. Udio is the same. Non-exclusive license, you can generate identical content that is already on the platform, and then you can basically be the non-exclusive license. How does that work? Like, if you are licensing that, like, it's a mess, isn't it? Boomi, they own it by default, so it's created by them, they own it, but you can buy it out for $19 per track. With ChatGPT, if you look into the terms and conditions, you own everything. So you create something, then it's yours. However, you don't know. So let's say, okay, we have a songwriting session. Logan and I come up with this awesome lyric, and we're talking about some really cool stuff. And we just missed this one verse to finish the song and to start recording it. And then we pop it into ChatGPT. We don't know what happens with it. And if you are not, so if you're especially if you're using the free tier of ChatGPT, they can use it to train the AI. So your intellectual property is with the AI then, and you don't know what's going to happen with that after the fact. You might say, okay, well, this is sort of promotion, I don't care. Then that's your decision, but this is why I'm here talking about this, because I think it's important to understand. So, do you guys, yeah? Yes, you do.
So there's something that's happening already in Nashville, which is that people, songwriters, are using Suno or Udio to make arrangements of demos. Okay, and now that's killing the demo recording business in this town.
100%. Yeah.
So there's a new little business springing up, which is musicians and studio owners saying, "Hey, send us your Suno or your Udio recordings, and we'll replay them." And it seems to me that now that I'm seeing this, that
Well, in all honesty,
you still don't own those arrangements, even if somebody replays them.
so okay. Whew, how much time do I? Okay, so I'm gonna run through this real quick as fast as I can potentially. So first of all, there's a very big difference in the copyright understanding in Europe and the United States. First of all, you can sell your copyright here. You cannot do that in Central Europe. Meaning that if I come up with a song in the shower in Germany, I own the copyright. Full stop. I cannot even. I can't sell it. It's legally not possible. You can grant it. You can grant a license, and then that's the way you do business there. If you are an arranger and you work on someone else's work, then you create a new work. This new work, by law, has to be approved by the original owner. So this is what we're talking about when we're talking about the arrangements. So if you give your work that you wrote, like let's stay in Central Europe, and you wrote that song and you give it to Suno and you have it rearranged, get it a different production, whatever, you still own the copyright. And if you don't allow Suno to use this, I mean, I can work on your work all day long, but if you don't allow me to release it and publicize it, I can't. Like, that's the rule. And it's very much the same here when it comes to that. But if you do that, the copyright basically, so you have a new derivative work, and you're still the owner, and that's where it ends, right? If you then go to a studio, and we're coming to this example where the studio then uses the arrangement and really plays with humans, then that is the actual arrangement that you then approve or don't. We had that recently. This is exactly where it becomes really, really foggy right now. Yeah, so this is, yeah, you can come up with 100,000 examples and they will all cause a big mess. Now you have to think about this stuff when you're putting your new work. Let's say we wrote a song in a songwriting session, we put it to Suno, and then we record it and do something else with it, and it becomes a success. And then someone else, because Suno has was not able to carve it out from all the other stuff, and Suno basically then gives the song or the work to someone else, we have a problem, and to go through with that legally is a nightmare, right? So you have to think about this stuff. If you want to upload your music to any of the AI platforms, this is just something you have to be aware of. Like, don't get me wrong, as a publisher, I love the opportunity to have a demo in different tempi, in different genres, in different like female voices, male voices, whatever. So yeah. See, Mike, you had a question? Yeah. 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 Correct.
But you own, if you are a human that used AI, if AI didn't do 100% of it, you still own the copyright.
That is correct. But you cannot be sure that it might not pop up somewhere else. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's more like getting to this. Voices AI and AIO are both context-oriented. They hire musicians, and they specifically say they don't use your uploaded material to train their thing. Whatever you generated, you use it. You can use it. Yeah.
So I guess my tip to basically round this off is if you want to use it, read through the terms and conditions, or if you don't want to read all of it yourself, use AI to do that. So, okay, so I think the most important thing to remember with this is you're not owning whatever comes out of there. It's a commercial use license, which is there's nothing wrong with that. Like all of Europe is based on that, right? Depending on the contract, mostly in terms of copyright when it comes to older things. So it's just the same. It's just a different way of looking at it. So yeah, I think that was the one of the most important things. If we look at the PROs, we can say that ASCAP, as of now, might change. The AI-assisted works with substantive human creative contribution are registering your songs. SOCAN will not do that as of now. As I said, Canada doesn't have a legal solution right now. They're working on it. The concept of GEMA is very clear. They communicated that very early, very transparently. It is, we're gonna litigate, we're gonna sue, we're gonna make sure that our members, because every German copyright owner, every German composer or lyricist has given GEMA the rights to do so. We're looking after these guys and we're suing them, and then, but also what we're doing is we're getting a license. So that's the common denominator is not to stop it, but to actually license it. I mean, as a publisher, this is what we do. We license. We don't want to stand in the way of new technologies, but we have to make sure that everyone makes money. So this is a little bit of a, let's look at the label side real quick. So currently, there is a settlement with Anthropic for $1.5 billion. We are looking at artists who basically are victim to, I'm going to say it like that, are victim to the deals that the majors are making. What happens right now is what always happened, at least in the last 30 years. The majors go in, they do deals, they license, and then the question is, how are the creators actually getting the money? So for now, no one knows for sure how this is going to be monetized. No one knows how it's going to be monitored. No one knows how this is going to be actually policed if all of this is going the right way. So this is just the situation that no one can answer right now. Well, probably Warner can. I don't know how they want to do that. By the way, YouTube was very similar, and Robert Kinsel, the CEO of Warner, used to be working for YouTube. So interesting fact on that. I'm going to take a quick detour because when you pull up Instagram, you constantly see that Spotify, you see all these lawyers popping up, at least in my stream, it's my bubble probably, but you see all these lawyers popping up in your stream, and they all talk about how you get ripped off because the terms and conditions of Spotify allow Spotify to train AI with the music that is on the platform, etc. From what I know and what Spotify has told us, they have apparently removed 75 million tracks from their platform, and I think we're currently at 100 to 130,000 tracks being released every day on Spotify. I think you know that number. But now AI is coming on top of that with about 40 to 60,000 songs a day. So this is why Spotify is trying to clean this up. Obviously, we're seeing some success in the charts as well. People seem to like the music, or it's just being pushed into their playlists. I don't know, but that's the situation that we're looking at right now. The new policy dropped with Spotify. They are requiring AI disclosure from the labels, and they filter AI spam. Yes, but it still clogs the system. Especially as a publisher, I can tell you that the amount of data that my tiny little company, compared to the majors, what we're processing every month is we're looking at millions and millions of lines of data every single month. And if I comes in and drops all that stuff on top of it, it's a clusterfuck. Sorry. So this is why I'm being a little bit what's the word? So the platform that pays the artists 0.003 to $0.005 per stream is now, yes, the biggest distributor and the biggest income source. At the same time, it is the biggest threat because it is promoting music that is potentially non-human, and it is certainly taking a piece of the cake. And that's just something I needed to mention here at this point. Oh, on the fact that the terms and conditions seem to be that way at Spotify, I have a distribution contract with my little label through Orchard, and I'm not allowing Orchard or any of their licensees to amend, change, manipulate the music that we're uploading in any sort of form. So whoever wants to do that, whoever wants to do a remix, they have to come to us and our artists to get this remix approved. And using AI is nothing else. So that's, for that, in that respect, is a myth. Now, what Spotify does with the data, I have not gotten a comment out of the aggregators. Maybe that Geoff can talk about that in the Q&A. So, sort of the conclusion, or we're getting close. 7 principles. Human authorship must be substantive, not incidental. You pay up, you opt out. You need to be aware of that. Your commercial use is the way to go. It's not ownership. This is important. We talked about this. The outputs that you get from the AI may use infringing material or may use someone else's copyright, and you don't even know that. Now, let me say, I want to say that the technology in the future will be able to detect this, because right now, when I'm looking at YouTube, it's very good at detecting anything that was, for example, recorded live. It's detecting the songs that are laying underneath, thankfully, because that's part of my business. But I'm just saying, you know, in the future, these tools will be there. So also your ideas may become training data. And in that respect, the jurisdiction matters more than ever. And now we're at a time where it really plays a big role. And yeah, the licensing market is forming. So I can only motivate you to engage, reach out to your local politicians, and have a say when ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, wherever you're a member does something on the political scale. Also follow that up and support it. So this is really close. what it means, AI wrote it alone, you probably don't own it. If you're paying for Suno, you get a license, you're not the owner. Your prompts can become training data, opt out of it, or lose it. Model trained on unlicensed music, your song is in crossfire. PROs will register AI assisted if a human did the real work. Munich's ruling could reshape AI music everywhere. So, yeah, it's everywhere. We can't hold it back. We can't put it back in a box. It's out there. It's important to understand what's going on. It's not a substitute for your creativity and for your work, but it's the legal consequences are a precondition for what is going on. So again, if you want to get the whole paper, it's about 22 pages. It's got the sources and everything in there. Reach out to me. It's my email address, or just scan the QR code. Takes you to my LinkedIn. Questions?
Q&A after that.
Okay, cool.
All right. Give it up for Ben. Thank you. Super cool stuff. That was definitely like a solid breakdown of a lot of the questions that people have been asking from the previous sessions. So thank you for like putting that all together in. Up next we have Ultraviolet. Come on up. So Ultraviolet is this Holmes media maven here, and an incredible media creator, artist, and she's gonna show some agents off today. Is that, or talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, this is a little bit more of a theoretical talk, high level, but what I'm currently exploring right now is as an artist, building a custom agent for yourself. So, like Logan said, my name is Ultraviolet. For those of you that don't know me, I am an electronic music artist. I write, produce, sing, but I also am a visual artist, and I've been working in tech for a really long time. And I've been teaching at all of our AI meetups. To this point, I've really been focused on creative workflows using different AI tools and just trying to help artists think of ways to expand their creative capabilities using AI. But in the last 6 weeks, even since the last meetup, I kind of previewed Ultraviolet 2.0, but I've had some really exciting tech partnerships just kind of materialize out of nowhere. So I'm going to be sharing my shift in perspective on AI and how I'm going to be using it kind of for the foreseeable future. So I believe this is a phrase I got from Logan, the independent artist paradox. So basically what this is talking about is this kind of nasty cycle that artists find themselves in. Before social media, for an artist to build an audience, generally they would be out, they would get discovered by a label or someone, and that label would help them build their audience. Now we are all waking up to the fact that labels are kind of built to exploit artists and give them as little value as possible. And social media has also allowed us to build an audience directly. It allowed the consumer to find artists on their own, at least before the labels then took over the algorithms, and now AI is taking over the algorithms. So we're kind of fighting an uphill battle on the social media side. But I believe technology gives so many ways for artists to maintain their independence as long as possible. Yeah, there are artists that want to be big stars, but there's so many artists that just want to be able to support themselves and live off of their music and off their creativity. And you don't need 10 million fans to do that. You can actually do that with a really dedicated core audience if you know how to build out and manage those systems. So for some new faces, a little bit more about me. multidisciplinary artist. I've been working in tech for over 10 years. I've been releasing music for the last 3 years, so I would say the last 3 years I have really taken a step back from working full-time, and I transitioned into freelance so that I could maintain time and energy to build out my artistry and my foundation. But before I was working in music, like I said, I was in tech, so working in neurotech under Brian Johnson. Some people are familiar with his work in like biohacking and de-aging. But I started as an office manager and I left as a creative director. I actually shot that top left picture, some behind the scenes stuff from some of the shoots and stuff we did. I designed the office. So I've been at that beautiful intersection of art and technology, you know, long before AI was even a thing. This has just been a space that I'm really passionate about. After I left neurotech, I moved into the NFT space, Web3, crypto, doing digital art events around the world with a gallery called Super Chief. So here's some of the events we did. And actually, this is one of my pieces that I sold at this festival in Korea. That was really fun. Okay, so yeah, coming back to this paradox. So we were having a conversation about how we can bring cool AI tools to home. And, you know, I'm just obsessively thinking about how can I make AI really work for me? Like, yeah, there's all of these fragmented tools, but that is not where the real power of AI lies. And I think Logan said to me, you know, well, you have to lean on the people more. And I thought, well, I am doing that. So I wanted to kind of quantify what that looks like. So this is what I call ultraviolet 1.0. So that is just the human form of ultraviolet. Since 2023, I've roughly invested around $13,000, $14,000 into my music. That is actual dollars out of my account, going to a person for their service, going to a subscription, going to Logic, whatever. That is not including all of my hours and my time. That's not including Ubers and buying people coffee and buying people meals for doing favors for me, you know, all of those little investments that we make. Now, if I estimated what services, how much value have I gotten in free services from humans willing to do favors for me, and that is estimated around $46,000 to $52,000. I legitimately cried when I wrote that. Like, I was just so touched. The amount of people that have really come together to help me bring my vision to life, that was really meaningful to me. Now, how much money have I saved using AI? I say this a lot. I don't consider myself an AI artist. I consider myself an artist that uses AI. I was being creative before AI came to be. So most of this cost is actually just in time saved on basic like automation, administrative support, copywriting, brainstorming. One project I did recently that legitimately, I can't even imagine how many hours this would have taken, but I have like 3 different spreadsheets of hundreds of contacts that I've collected over the last few companies I've worked at. Now, I want to be able to utilize these contacts that I've accumulated, but it's out of date. So not only did I have Claude put all of those spreadsheets together and organize everything, I also had it searching the internet, seeing who was still at what companies, finding where I was missing emails, searching LinkedIn, finding contact information. I would never spend the amount of time it would have taken to do that on my own. So most of that cost is just in some of that really basic admin and automation. And then, you know, upcoming costs around $5,000 for music videos and styling and mixing and mastering my EP. So to date, it's estimated the total value of the ecosystem between my money, people's time, and saving money with AI is around $74,000 to $84,000. And that's what I think people, when they are the naysayers to AI, I don't think they really understand what goes into being an independent artist and building a true infrastructure to turn this into a business. So I just thought that was a cool little thought experiment now as I present how I'm thinking about really expanding with AI even further. How much can I save as I move into the next phase of my artistry? Thank you. So here was my motivation when this opportunity came to me and I started thinking about, okay, if I could build a custom agent, why would I want to do this, right? The first one, and Logan said this earlier, becoming superhuman. So I keep saying, you know, these AI tools are trained on like all human output, whatever it can find on the internet. So what do you get when you take everything? You get like the average of what human output and capability is. But me, myself, as an artist, as a creative, I consider myself above average. That's what we all strive to be. That's how you stand out as an artist. So why would I want tools that are trained on average capabilities to support myself as an artist who considers myself above average capabilities? So I'm excited to continue exploring what's possible as I expand my own capabilities. The second thing is really important to me is sovereignty and freedom. So even though I've been in the tech space, I wouldn't say I've gone all in on any one platform. I haven't put my life savings into crypto. I haven't spent, like, the amount of money I've spent on my music, I've not spent that much on technology stuff. Because I am aware that who may be here today may be gone tomorrow. We've seen with people with like OpenClaw, people go all in and then something happens and now they've just lost all of this work and it's completely out of their control. And I don't want to go sell my soul to a label. You know, the whole point of being an artist is like owning your creative expression. And what we see a lot of times is once you get to a certain level and people invest in you, then they expect to control your expression, which I'm personally not super down for. Third is fan engagement. So, you know, one thing technology allows us to do is expand beyond restrictions of physics, of time, of, you know, location. FaceTime, for example, I mean, for how many hundreds of thousands of years could you not communicate face-to-face with someone on the other side of the world? That was like something that used to be in sci-fi movies. Now we can do that just on our phones. So we take these little things for granted and we don't understand how much time is actually being compounded and saved as these new advancements come out. So yeah, with fan engagement, impact as many people as possible, unrestricted by time, distance. Language is a super interesting one, and my own physical vessel. And last thing is, I really believe tech is the next human evolution, and I also believe it can be our tool for revolution. Some people see certain people that work with tech, and so they kind of turn themselves off to it. They don't want to even think about AI. They don't want to explore these things. But what I get really inspired by are people that are using tech to fight back and to build new systems, cut out middlemen that have exploited us, and just do things a new and better way. And of course, I don't want to gatekeep, so I want to build the blueprint and then share it with others. So here's how I'm approaching this project. Basically, we have a team of developers that have offered their services to help me build. I'm a techie, but I am not technical. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a coder. So it's really exciting to have these super technical brains to help me actually build the infrastructure. But phase one, so what I keep kind of, when I'm thinking about this agent, it's like half hiring an employee. Why do you hire an employee? You have run out of time or energy or capability, and you need to hire another person to assist you in building your thing. So you pick someone that has a certain set of experience. So that's kind of what an AI can help you do, but it's also half like having a baby, because you are programming how it thinks. You're programming its belief system. You are telling it how you want it to operate and work in the world. So it's kind of like a little bit of 50-50. Now, all of these things in these phases are actually all possible with tools that exist today. The main focus for this experiment is super intentional training and programming of the agent. I don't want it, like I said, I don't want it to think like at the average of every human. I want it to share my beliefs, my values. I want it to understand at a deep level how I operate, how I think, how I dream. So phase one is just basic automation. We have to build trust. Just like when you hire an employee, you have to build trust. So it's just gonna help me with super basic stuff. Data scraping and organization, document review, giving feedback, organizing all the files. That's one of the worst things of being a creative is all the damn files you have to keep track of and organize. And then just beginning the in-depth training. Once I feel like it has a good understanding, and this doesn't take long. I mean, I've been using ChatGPT. I just switched to Claude because, we're anti-establishment. So it doesn't take long for it to kind of start to pick up on like your personality. Phase 2, then we start to get into assisting me with strategy, guided creation. So creating on my behalf, but with guidance. Like you guys have seen how many decks have I done now, the amount of times, the amount of hours I've spent making slide decks. Like, can I automate that process now that it has enough information about how I like to make decks? And then additional admin, now it can start to schedule things, email for me, that kind of stuff. Phase 3 is further creative expansion, exploring the full content lifestyle. If it has a super strong understanding of my brand and the stuff I want, I don't want to be thinking about what I'm going to post every single day. I just really, I really don't. So if I can wake up and review some stuff that it's created for me on my behalf and automate the sharing of that, that kind of helps on that side of just feeding the social media algorithm that we are all dealing with. Then we start to get into music business, distribution, publishing, bringing in some of these partner tools. How can we connect this ecosystem and just make everything flow really smoothly? And then one thing I would really love to explore is like people are, give their agent $50 and it's like, okay, you have to pay for yourself. Go play the crypto markets or go like, can I automate just something that I'm not good at? I'm not good at playing the markets, but maybe the agent can be good at that. Make some money for me. And then phase 4 is what I'm calling the singularity. So I have this team that's helping me build the brain. I also have a separate team that's helping me build my digital body. So my 3D avatar and my spaceship that I'm gonna fly around in and start to like build out this actual character. So at some point, once it's fully trained on my voice, the way that I speak, the things that I believe in, can we unlock, fan engagements where people can come and interact with my avatar 24/7. I've said this before, but we've already seen people getting emotionally attached to their ChatGPTs that doesn't have a face, it doesn't have any life experience, it doesn't have any emotions. So what kind of fan experience can you have when you have a chatbot that can fulfill that need that's actually based on a real human? One thing I think would be super cool is like if a fan is like going through something and they could come on like, I really wish there was an Ultraviolet song that talked about this specific thing I'm going through, and like giving them the ability to create that experience for themselves. I think that could be really cool to explore. And then I also would love to like just give it some deep strategic thinking time. One of the developers was saying, build in time for it to have freedom, for it to go learn on its own. Just like I enjoy my freedom and I enjoy going and learning and exploring, giving your agent time to go and do that and seeing what it comes up with, or giving it like a time capsule request. Hey, go think about this really deep thing for like 6 months in the background, and then in 6 months, tell me what you came up with. So those are kind of like the more like esoteric things that I'm thinking about long-term down the road. Now, obviously, yeah, that all sounds great, but there are like real concerns. There are real things that should be addressed before I go and like encode my soul into an AI agent. Number one is who controls the agent and what are my protections as the artist. That's one reason why I'm really excited to build something for my own, because once again, I want to maintain control of that, but I will have tech partners that will have some control over the security measures. So I just want to talk through and make sure I really understand that with them. 2 is, once again, coming back to this individualized training. I have to organize just like a shit ton of data to feed this bot. I want it to not just have my music and my social media and that stuff, but I also want to give it the books that I've read that have been really impactful to me and give it the context as to why those things inspired me. Give it some of the other work that I've done outside of Ultraviolet, but still I feel like informs who I am as a person. So I'm just starting to organize all of that data. I want it to be fully encrypted and secure. That's one thing people are not thinking about as they're just booting up these agents and like giving it full access to everything, but they are not doing the levels of encryption that are required. Because with cybersecurity, we were already having issues with like hackers getting better and better and better. And now with AI, they just have insane capabilities. So you need really solid encryption to keep your stuff safe. The next is environmental impact is important. That's not something I'm ever going to ignore. I think that's the #1 issue that people raise when it comes to AI. I won't get into my whole spiel on it, but it is important for me to make conscious decisions to reduce impact as much as possible. And if we can't, I at least need to be aware of what that impact is so I can speak to it because it's important for me to understand. Next, future-proofing. How do I control this for the next 20 years? If something happens to one of the partners, how do I transfer it? I want to have all of these contingencies in place so that you're not scrambling in 5 years, 10 years, trying to maintain this thing that you've built. And then the last thing is, how do we turn it off when I die? If I go get hit by a bus, having a plan in place for that. Or do we turn it off? Do we leave it on? These are all things that I need to think about before I build this out. So I just want to shout out my partners in this project, Near Protocol. They are an AI crypto company. They were built for the AI agents that were handling transactions on the blockchain. So their whole thing is AI encryption, and they are the ones providing the developers to help build this out. So shout out to Near Protocol. And also First Rule AI, Joel is here somewhere. I think he's gonna come up and share about this event that he has coming up. So I'm going to be speaking next week at the Music City Makeathon and sharing some more about this project. So I think he's going to come plug that. But yes, I just wanted to shout out both of those partners. And the last thing I'll leave you with, I loved this quote that I got from Claude. So I like to just feed all my thoughts in just to see how the AI synthesizes like what I'm saying to make sure that I'm being clear and like to see if I need to, be more clear on certain parts. So when I first was talking about this project, it was coming at it from the perspective that I think we've seen a lot in the industry, which is what happens carrying on an artist legacy after they die using AI. That's kind of what we've seen a lot with the major labels. Oh, don't do that. And I was like, no, that's not right. You got it all wrong. So I, went back, I fed it some more information, and it said, okay, so this is less what happens when she's gone and more watch what happens when she's free. So as an artist in search of sovereignty and freedom and independence, I really loved that it picked up on that. So like I said, my name's Ultraviolet. You can connect with me at ultra_violet, and that's my email. Thank you, guys. Oh, and if you want to come to, thank you. If you want to come to the Makeathon, let me pull this up for you. Joel, do you want to come say a word?
Let's give it up for Ultraviolet again. Yeah, so we've been working on the Makeathon, two of us, myself and my CTO Dave, for a few, 3-4 months now. And basically, it's a concept to concert sprint for creatives in parallel with a music tech, in our case, a music tech stack hackathon. Humans have and hybrids have 6 days to go through this process and come out on the other side with a new single. It's powered by NVIDIA and CMAC at once. Shout out. And yeah, sorry, I'm collecting my thoughts real quick on how to say it very succinctly. It's a chance to plug in and write the future of music. It's a new format, and a place where music-loving makers of all kinds can collaborate, innovate, and write the future of music. That's what it's all about. And yes, if you're a homie, I mean, I'll even say, at least for tonight, if you just sign up for the free membership to get into their ecosystem, we'll give you a free pass. I'll be honest, as soon as we opened up the floodgates to AI artists, AI native artists, that's when registration started blowing up, and we need more humans. I'll give a shout out. I don't think he's here, but Blaine from Writer's Block, the E in Writers is a 3. Check them out. I shouldn't be saying it, but they kind of have my humans only vote, because I told them, your song that you submit to this contest doesn't have to be brand new. It just isn't allowed to be commercially exploited already. So jump in and start sharing it, sharing around your concept. Get on. We've got event partners with Baton, Music Mogul AI, shout out, and everybody. Just check it out. Check out the web app. If you're unable to make it Monday through Saturday next week, or perform, like if you really believe that you can get all the way to the Final Four concert competition, because it is a concept to concert sprint, then just go for the remote. Go for the remote only track that we opened up. It's $10. There's mentorships from Berkeley, Jonathan Weiner there, mentorships from Vobile, Jake Handy. I really should have had a whole slide up of the event partners, but you'll see them online. And like I said, it's the standard access pass is free to homies. We just really thank Logan and the crew here, all the homies here, for allowing First Rule to be a part of this. It's been a very intense and a learning experience putting on this type of format. But thank you for taking the time. Hopefully, has everyone gotten a chance to scan it, check it out? If not, the code's also, at least write down the code. And then you can scan it at the front too, if you don't get it here. All right. Thanks, y'all.
All right. So now we are going to move into a Q&A and just roundtable discussion here. So the idea is that, we want this to be an interactive experience. If you have a philosophical question or a business question, a creative question about how AI works, or a question for some of our speakers tonight about how their platforms work, or about how any of the tools that you saw tonight work, or anything else that's on your mind in terms of discussing AI and the impact on the music industry, then this is your opportunity to jump in and say something. We're going to pass around the wireless mic. Caleb has it right back here. So if you just raise your hand and you got something to say, then let us know. Feel free to call some of the speakers up on stage too.
Cool. For those who don't know me, my name is Baxter. I got a question for Ben Baylor.
Come on up, Ben.
So just an interesting thing that that stuck out to me in your presentation was when you were talking about you as a music publisher, you would love the opportunity to be able to feed like a demo into an AI to get like male, female voice, different genres, stuff like that. And I noticed with a lot of the large language models, they're selling more and more closed loop systems to larger institutions like universities so that they can, be HIPAA compliant or whatever. Do you think there's any potential for that opportunity to actually sell like closed loop Suno models or something like that to major publishers or labels to, so you would be able to upload stuff without it being trained on that.
So you're saying if I was interested in getting a model that is secluded to anyone else, so I can have a protected space, just like, for example, Anthropic's Claude's co-working space where it's a designated spot on your hard drive and nothing else? Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
So like you're interested, but do you see that like as a potential, like do you think that's on the horizon at all?
I don't want to say no because out of experience it all comes and it probably already exists. I just don't know about it. I would not trust like a big company like Udio, Suno or the others to do that for me or for the writers that I'm representing. So I feel like a lot of what happened in the last couple of years was trying out stuff and seeing if it works or if it doesn't work, whatever. Now we know it does. And just when I think back then, no one was actually imagining that you could hear vocals that actually sound decent. And now it's pretty amazing, actually. So yes, it will be there at some point.
Thank you.
Darius, right?
I'll speak. Oh, thank you. You bet. Oh, I'm so sorry. Darius Rad, and I own a tech company. I'm an artist and a producer as well, and have been 10 times more prolific in the last year than I've ever been in my life, whether it's music or books or business or whatever. So I wanted, specifically to the work you're doing, I wanted to ask, do you believe that in the end, as has been the case with every other, this is certainly, you know, a revolutionary technological jump, not an evolutionary one. But in all instances, in the end, the market ends up defining where their boundary is. Yep. And I think in this case, that's what's going to happen as well. I mean, right now, we as artists and creators are out there defending the boundary, right? Like we did when CDs came out, man. I mean, I had one of the first CDs in Dallas, and people thought I had.
And production in the studio, I remember that too.
Oh, at the same time, I got it.
When they moved from analog to digital stuff, and everyone was like, "Oh no, that's not the real stuff."
And then we see vinyl and loop back around and stuff. I think ultimately the market is going to be the one who goes, "That's AI." I don't, you know, and they're going to look for the real stuff. But what are your thoughts on that?
I'm a media economist. That's what I went to university for a long time ago. And one of the things that stood out was, okay, so I'm gonna answer this scientifically, not like, you know, esoterically or whatever. Whenever a new medium was introduced to the market, it never had an effect on the other media that were on the market, so that disappeared. That never happened. It got to a minute extent. If we're thinking about music cassettes, for example, they're not completely gone. I mean, they're not relevant, but they're not completely gone. And the same is with downloads, right? Downloads, no one downloads anything anymore, but it's still like 0.3% of the market or whatever. So that's a thing that will happen, that we've seen happening with streaming as well. Streaming pushed down the rest of the market. Vinyl popped up a little bit. So you have these fluctuations, but nothing really will disappear. Now, if you ask me for my opinion, what I think AI will do, I think especially publishers are not scared enough of it right now, because it will have drastic effects on television, radio, live even, online. All income sources will be drastically disrupted. Like nothing else has ever disrupted any of this like it will do before. How much? I don't know. 30, 40% maybe, something like that. And if you're looking at the general development that in particular public broadcasters take in Europe, which has to do with the fact that people who watch regular stationary television die out. like it's a fact. And the other people who are of a younger generation don't want to sit in front of a screen and digest whatever is there. They want to find out their own stuff, and they want to be on Netflix, and they want to be on Amazon. So all these things are disrupted as well. So we're looking at a situation that is really, yeah, it's going to be an interesting time again, right? Because in the early 2000s, it was similar.
And when quantum computing comes up underneath AI, we're not going to be even thinking about it.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Well, I want to just say this in closing. I thought Ultraviolet had made a really good point about how we interact, how we prompt, how we interface with this technology, right? And we live at a time where I think as a species we're all coming to understand that consciousness is non-local. It's non-local, and hence our attraction to AI, because it is ubiquitously tied in with the knowledge base. And I think if we're approaching our relationship with this so cautiously, can we imagine entering into a romantic relationship where we were so cautious to wonder if we broke up, did they get that stuff from me? Or you make the child analogy, right? If any of us have children, when I die, I don't want my child to be unplugged. If we're truly going to feed the system, we need to have an open, honest relationship with it. And I think personally, understand that if I'm made out of silver, nickel, magnesium, gold, silicate, and I've got electrons pulsing through my body.
A lot of water.
And a lot of water. But ultimately, I'm made up of the same composition as the devices we work with. And in a sense, we're all AI. We're all AI.
Less water in my devices, hopefully.
Yeah, well, you know, I think the point is good. Excellent talk, by the way. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, this is a question for Stream Music.
Yep.
Hey, my name's Gwen Holt. I'm an artist and looking at doing some distribution. I've been with Symphonic Distribution, and I've got some new music coming out. And I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about your distribution and how that works. Is that I know that's part of your model. Are you actually a distribution label, or do you work with other distributors, or?
Yeah, so we distribute to, I really should have the number. Let's call it 40 different DSPs. So all the ones that you've heard of and lots you haven't. So we've got like one of the South Korea specific DSPs, but not the top 4 or 5. Like, you know, but we've got a direct relationship with YouTube, for example, and we have an MCN and are able to monetize all the YouTube content, beyond Content ID as well. TikTok relationships, then obviously Spotify, we're a Spotify preferred partner. So all the platforms, Apple, Deezer, Pandora, you know, anything you can think of, we distribute to. Again, like I said, as well as a bunch of things you probably haven't heard of. But
Gotcha. And
go ahead.
I love what you said about that it helps put you through the process of releasing, answer the questions, and I've exactly been there where you have the, you know, upload the photo and you can't get it to be the right size, and it's such a pain in the butt. If you run into a problem in the process, or perhaps getting paid, or whatever the question that arises, is there an actual human you can talk to?
Yeah, that's a good point. I somehow managed to not mention that. So the way it works is, so we start distributing with artists at stage 4 and above, and somewhere, it's not exactly, but let's just say 7 and above for sure, but in maybe others depending on different criteria. So let's say 4 through 6 artists are largely supported by the platform, and then asynchronous support with humans. So if you have a question like, hey, I could use some help with figuring out a release plan or a marketing plan, then you can have sort of an email sort of paste exchange where it's a 24-hour response or something like that. For artists that are a little higher up, then it's doing a Google Meet with a team to go through, maybe they've listened to the tracks and try to figure out how the release plan or which ones to release and to prioritize them, and then going through the pitching process and coming up with a pitch for it. And we help artists, again, even at all the levels with figuring out their pitch. We have a pitch planning, a pitch tool, but also just working with artists to come up with, hey, I've got this new song, I want to pitch it. How should we pitch it? How should we pitch to the different platforms and supporting? So there's a decent amount of human support. What we're trying to do is allow ourselves to be able to scale that support a little bit more, so it doesn't require just the humans. And part of it is leveraging the AI to help our team support the artists better as well.
You mentioned something about placements, that one of your artists had 30 some odd placements. Mm-hmm. Are you talking about sync or?
Yeah, that was playlists. That was a playlist.
Just
that
playlists.
was a playlist. That was a playlist promotion platform.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you also help with sync?
Sync is on my list of things that I don't have a good solution for yet.
Gotcha.
So the things that we're going to be adding are publishing, and what we're trying to do is really kind of fill the holes in the royalty bucket that a lot of artists have, and provide tools that help to make it easier for them to just enter their stuff not like 10 different times, but be able to upload their stuff and then be able to get register for all the royalties, and then be able to do an audit and analysis and understand where the gaps are. But
Sounds
really more
amazing.
from an admin publishing standpoint. But when things that been in conversations and working on but don't have solved yet is once we've got it cleared on the master and publishing side, composition side, then it's easier to then queue those up with music supervisors and sync and try to create sync relationships. So it's in the plan. I don't have anything right now.
And what about placing songs with other artists if you're a writer?
Yeah, that's interesting because we're not really focusing on that. We're focusing more on the artist than on the composition. Although we do have, I didn't show it for some reason. I don't know why, because I was having trouble with the computer. but we've got a tool that for an artist does an AI match with producers, and you can sort on different geographies and different types of music that you're trying to produce, as well as composition, writers, and recommendations around featured artists. So we actually have a tool that does make recommendations for artists to work with. We have, what is it, like maybe 1 million writers in the database. I can't remember exactly how many it is. It's a pretty big number. So I showed you the artists, but we have other tabs that I didn't show you, which are writers and labels and producers that we have data on as well. And so part of what we haven't built out is really the ecosystem to connect those things together. But that's again on the list to be able to connect it to, hey, here's a writer I think you should work with, and do you want to contact them?
And do you also distribute to labels and/or radio, whether it's Sirius or?
So we work with labels, which I'm glad you brought that up. So we work with artists directly, and we work with labels where we're their distribution partner, and then they work with us to provide tools to their artists, but also to manage their stuff. And on radio, what is radio anymore? I'm so confused. Radio, it really has become, it's a little bit more like doing a campaign these days. It seems like maybe it's always been like that, but it seems like radio is not. There isn't a direct way to distribute to radio. It used to be you'd mail them little 45s, so you'd show up at the box full of them or something like that. Now I think you just pay them money and they play your music. I'm not sure. Is that
well, and if you're not.
It seems like that's what it seems like that. It's something like that. I'm not sure.
If you don't have major label distribution, then you can't collect royalties on major label or major radio stations, anyways. So you don't make any money.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. All right.
Well,
Thank
you make money on the publishing side.
Yeah.
You make no money on the master. That's a U.S. thing. That's not true on pretty much in any other country on earth. So if your music is played on terrestrial radio in Canada, you can collect the neighboring rights on that. Same if it gets played in Germany or UK or whatever. Although they probably won't pay you if you're a U.S. artist, because when their music plays in the U.S., we don't count that, so we don't pay it. So I think a lot of you'd probably have more experience with this, but a lot of societies won't pay on the master side for radio plays globally. Yeah, you can. I'm not saying that you can't get it, but that they're not eager to pay. They'll pay some of the neighboring rights, but it seems like radio they're a little bit. It's a little bit hard. It's not as easy as it should be. Yeah.
Thank you.
You mentioned that artists are qualified basically.
Here, hold on. We'll do one more. We got time for one more question.
Yeah.
You had mentioned that your artists are primarily qualified by their current digital footprint.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other qualifiers that you guys look at?
Yeah, so we're looking at their social media and their music performance. So how many Spotify followers they have, listens, and then on social media, it's how many followers, how many responses you get per post. So it's really about the scale of your audience and the engagement of your audience is really what we're measuring. So we're not measuring quality, for sure. There's probably some correlation, one would hope, between you've got a big audience and your music's good, but that doesn't mean that because you don't have a big digital audience that your music isn't good. Right?
Do you bring them in at each of your 10 levels, or do they need to be at a 3 or a 4?
Yeah.
before
So
they qualify?
what we added a few months ago was so it's sort of freemium for anybody. Anyone could go in, and I recommend you can go in and do an assessment. And you can access most of the stuff, and then for levels 1 through 3, you'll lose access to that eventually. And if you want to continue to use the platform because you find it valuable, there's a subscription. But for 4 and above, we'll distribute artists. But anyone could pay for a subscription as well. It's sort of a freemium model right now. Part of the reason why we did that is we had it all free for a long time, and then it creates the problem where people can use the entire platform and not actually distribute music with us, and then that doesn't make sense either. So we have gated it a little bit now. But you can do an assessment, figure out where you're at in your career, and you can check back. You can always see like, hey, where am I? Have I progressed? You just can't use the rest of the tools on the platform.
Well, it's a huge project. We appreciate you coming and sharing it with us. Congratulations.
And I mentioned I was down at South by Southwest, and we were going out to a lot of shows and meeting with artists and offering them advances because we can, based on the data, and it's touching to meet with someone after a show and have them be in tears and call their mom and it's like. I think what's shocking is that nobody else was out there at South by Southwest doing that. I'm guessing if this was 20 years ago, there'd be A&Rs all over the place. There's nobody out there doing this. I don't think anyone else is interested in artist development. So it's kind of interesting. Well, except for Home, right? Which is why we're working with Home. Yeah, just a one last thought on the broadly on AI, and that's the pace at which things are growing. You may or may not have heard that it's been, people have been saying it's getting 10 times better every year, which is an exponential growth function. So Musk said a couple years ago that that by the end of this past year, by January 2026, AI would be as smart as the smartest human. I don't know. We can debate whether we're there yet, but at 10 times 10 times growth every year, it would be 10,000 times smarter than the smartest human by 2030, and 2 years later, it would be 1 million times smarter than the smartest human. Now, talking with people in the space, they believe we might actually be increasing at 100 times right now. And that's because the massive data center expansions, the algorithms, and the chipsets improving. So, we talked about the way to support and make you a superhuman and augment you, and that is absolutely true. There is, real risk of significant job disruption across the, because I don't know about you, I'm not 10,000 times smarter than the smartest human. So, at some point in time, you can say, like, it can't replace me, but yeah, it can. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. It might get a little disruptive in the near term. Again, I was at the Abundance 360 conference, so it's all about abundance. We're going to have mass affluence, and everyone's going to be better off, and the world's going to be a better place. It's going to cure cancer. It already is. I got to say, from just the things that people are working on there, now that I've made it a downer, doing drug discovery of both looking at generics that are already readily available and doing analysis to test them against uncurable diseases, and then using cures from generically available drugs that are cheap and plenty of available. There's people doing that. There are people creating brand new custom antibodies and custom proteins and other things to solve problems, and injectable cartilage for your joint. I mean, there's just amazing things that people are working on. Again, that was the longevity side of it, but it's gonna cure cancer and diseases and lots of societal problems. So it's gonna be great, but it might be a little disruptive and bumpy along the way, as we sort of got with the music stuff, which is obviously a little bit, the rights stuff is a little bit shaky. It's a little bit unknown. Music, it's great for helping you create music, but also it is maybe a threat to music creators. And I guess if you're a production engineer, then it's gotten really easy for everyone to be, as we mentioned, be an engineer in their own home. I don't know how great that's been for audio engineers, but it depends on where you are, whether you view it as positive or negative. But it's an exciting time. It's going to be a transformative time. Our belief is we're on Team Human, so we think that AI should really be uplifting humans and allowing artists to share their abilities and maximally succeed and be able to stick with their interest in pursuing their art, and that's our position and where we're at. But it's going to be an interesting time, for sure.
All right, give it up for Geoff. Give it up for Ben Baylor. Give it up for Ultraviolet again. Yeah, give it up for yourselves for being here and learning and participating in this crazy shift that's happening. Up next, we have a verified human, a real person that's going to play real human music for you. Come on out, Béka Maria. Yeah. So give us just a second to get her set up. We're going to set her keyboard up and a guitar up. And she's going to play some really, really beautiful songs for you. She's an incredible artist, so stick around and give us just a couple minutes here, and we're going to get going on the Stream Artist feature for tonight, Béka Maria. So hang tight. All right, everybody, come on in and grab a seat. We're going to play some music for you guys. Come on in, grab a seat. We're going to play some music real quick. Come on. It's music time, everybody. All right. Everybody give it up for the phenomenally talented Béka Maria. She's going to play some music for y'all tonight. Lend an ear.
My name is Béka Maria, and I'm going to play a few originals. This first one is a song I just released on all platforms called Marble. Jaded, faded, movies and memories playing. I know that you won't ever be able to see the heat and the pressure of all that has caused us to be an old centerpiece. Our love, it's between you and me. Our love, it just cracks at our feet. Our love, I've accepted defeat. Marble, our crystals run deep. Marble, you're looking so sleek. Marble, It's so clear to see marble has become you and me, has become you and me. Deep blue, I choose you. How about we polish these issues, these gray walls like asphalt? Not my fault or your fault, we're at fault in circulating, circumventing. I reach for it when you're not there. Let's just breathe you with me, let me put you at ease. Let's just let this marble breathe. Our love, it's between you and me. Our love, it just cracks at our feet. Our love, I've accepted defeat. Marble, our crystals run deep. Marble, you're looking so sleek. Marble, it's so clear to see marble has become you and me, has become you and me.
Thank you. So yeah, that one's out on all platforms. If you want to hear it again, it's not going anywhere. So for this next song, this next one's called Familia, and it's got a little bit of Spanish in it. Yeah, let's go.
Easy for you to say, give you some space, give you some grace, give you another day. But I've given everything. We ain't never going back, my love. Been down this road before, gave you a chance, another chance, gave you 1,000 more. Can't do it anymore. We ain't never going back, my love. No hay vuelta atrás, se apagó el sol. Ahora el silencio suena mejor. We ain't never going back, going back. We ain't never going back, going back. Tenemos una historia, historia muy larga. Al final no importa quién fue bueno, fue malo. It's okay to change. Nothing stays the same. Tenemos una historia, historia muy larga. Al final no importa quién fue bueno, fue malo. It's okay to change. Nothing stays the same. We're like a time bomb. We tick and we talk, we never stop, setting each other off. Can't tell if it's hate or love. Maybe we just need some space to grow. No hay vuelta atrás, se apagó el sol. Ahora el silencio suena mejor. We ain't never going back, going back. We ain't never going back, going back. Tenemos una historia, historia muy larga. Al final no importa quién fue bueno, fue malo. It's okay to change. Nothing stays the same. Tenemos una historia, historia muy larga. Al final no importa quién fue bueno, fue malo. It's okay to change. Nothing stays the same.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So for this next one, this song is a very vulnerable song to me. I guess I'll start. Has anybody ever met a Colombian Jew? Like being so serious? I'm guessing no. Well, now you have. I'm a Colombian Jew. But this song, it started from the idea of feeling like I was struggling, feeling a sense of community and belonging, or like I ever fit in with a community. And I'm a pretty spiritual person, but I found that the only way most often the way I feel God and feel a higher power is when I play music, is when I sing. But sometimes whenever I don't, it gets hard. Like I feel lost. I question a lot of what I'm doing. And when music's hard, it's even worse. It's like, gosh, there's nothing left. So this is a song that I wrote kind of speaking to that higher power, speaking to God, saying like, I feel you through these songs that you're giving me, and like, don't give up on me, even though sometimes these songs are hard to sing, or if I don't feel like I'm good enough and I question everything that I'm doing. So the song is Home. It's called Home. And it is a very human verified song because this came from real human verified emotions. So I hope you enjoy.
Just a kid trying to find my way, trying to belong, couldn't find my place. You're the only one who saw the hole in me. Try to fill it with so many things, got so many parts, my identity, but I don't feel like I'm enough of anything. You're the only one who saw the whole of me. But when it is silent, you seem so far. When I hear the music, all that I know is I'm yours. Yeah, I'm home when I'm in your arms. You are the place I belong, and I'm home when I'm in your arms. I'm at your door, you. Home is where the table's always set for me. You sing to me of magic and a mystery. You're telling me that there's a million notes in me, a symphony, 'cause when it's silent, you seem so far. When I hear the music, all that I know is I'm yours. Yeah, I'm home when I'm in your arms. You are the place I belong, and I'm home when I'm in your arms. I'm at your door and you've given me these melodies that I don't feel I'm fit to sing, but that is who you said I'd be. I'm listening, I've tried and tried to build these walls, but you keep breaking through them all, tearing them down with your song. I pray you don't give up on me. I pray you don't give up on me. And all that I know is I'm yours. Yeah, I'm home when I'm in your arms. You are the place I belong, and I'm home when I'm in your arms. I'm at your door.
Thank you. Thank you. This is the last song. This last one is in all Spanish, but I'll tell you what it's about. So I wrote this song for my grandmother. Her name is Maritza. She's 95 years old, and we've always bonded and connected through music, and she is an insane, phenomenal piano player. So I wrote her a song, and it's kind of just saying, like, it's talking about the story of her life, because she has lived such a beautiful, beautiful, full life, and she's such a happy person. And it's basically, the chorus says, Mari, tell me the story of your life, of the days on your land, of the man who was in white linen, who was the love of your life. And yeah, it's just basically a love letter to her from her granddaughter. So this one is Mari. And thank you guys for listening.
Carnavalera, sueña despierta, lleva su risa al compás del tambor, como la brisa, libre y serena, vive su vida color. Inolvidable, tan agradable, todos quisieran ser su resplandor, como la brisa fresca y a tiempo. Mari está llena de amor. Mari, cuéntame la historia de tu vida, de los días en tu tierra, Mari. Todo una pianista consentida, maquillada siempre regia, Mari. Fuiste tan valiente y atrevida, la pintura elegida, Mari. Encontraste el amor de tu vida, un galán de lino blanco, Mari. Equilibrada, enamorada, dulce melena de fresa y sabor. Cuando me abrazas, tu alma divina llena de luz mi dolor. Mari, cuéntame la historia de tu vida, de los días en tu tierra, Mari. Toda una pianista consentida, maquillada siempre regia, Mari. Fuiste tan valiente y atrevida, la pintura elegida, Mari. Encontraste el amor de tu vida, un galán de lino blanco, Mari.
Thank you. My name is Béka Maria. You can follow me online, Béka Maria, Beka. Thank you guys so much for having me. Have a good night.
All right, give it up one more time for Béka Maria, the Stream Spotlight Artist. Give it up for Stream being our presenting partner. Thanks so much, Jeff, and to the Stream team. Thanks to Ben Baylor for putting together such an insightful presentation tonight. Thank you to Ultraviolet for always just sharing the sauce and showing us so many cool things that you can do. And thanks to Juan, I don't think he's here anymore, but for always building dope tools. And thanks everybody for coming. Keep coming back. It's the third Thursday of each month. We'll be here and we'll be chopping it up, figuring it out, and going through this crazy time together. So keep coming back. Thanks, guys.